Hi, welcome back. I'm Camille, and this is Heal with Camille. Relationships can be difficult, and if you've been with someone for a long time, things might be getting a little stale or boring. In the beginning of every relationship, there's usually sparks and the fireworks, and you can't wait to get in front of each other, touch each other, have sex, just get all over each other. You just want that eye contact. You want him to look at you and just make your heart stop when he connects with you. And you want her to just take a deep breath when she looks at you, like she just can't stand that you're right next to her. She loves it so much. So this is kind of how love usually starts, is an impassioned connection. And then over time, when we get used to each other, things get a little bit boring or we fight. And after the 120 days of what we call the honeymoon phase of every early relationship, people start doing what they call power struggling. And so when you power struggle with somebody, you're trying to educate them on what you think and why you think that and why you want that and why your ideas are right or why their ideas are wrong. So this is when people start fighting. And the fighting can last anywhere from, a month to literally 40 years. So this is exactly what you want to talk about when you start dating somebody. So if you're going to go through a power struggle phase, how do you handle conflict? What's the hardest thing you've ever gone through in your life? And is it something that you are over with? Because if you've got something that you're still traumatized by, mostly within another relationship, you're likely to take it out on each other. If there is a betrayal from a past relationship, if you're divorced and you've got some financial abuse from that relationship, have you worked through that? Are you still upset about that? Because during this power struggle phase, all the stuff that you're incomplete about from your past is going to surface and you're going to take it out on each other. Guaranteed. It isn't going to go smoothly because you take you with you wherever you go. And if you're not done with your past, it's going to come out on the next relationship. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't date or be inside of a new relationship. It just means you've got to get honest and you've got to look at always, what is my fault here? What am I bringing to this power struggle? What am I doing to cause a disconnect in the side of this relationship? And if you can really look and see and take responsibility, it usually inspires your partner to say they're sorry as well and take responsibility for their stuff too. But this power struggle phase, it can get really nasty. It can get really ugly. This is where people just start getting even and doing stupid things and taking advantage. I've had, I've had married couples separate and, they cancel the insurance on the other person just out of spite. It's like something bad could happen, but they don't care. They just cancel the insurance and screw them. And it's silly stuff because it isn't really about any present time issue. There isn't usually cheating. There isn't usually violence or abuse. It's just some, again, control game is what it is. And they feel disrespected. So she's going to respect me. He's going to respect me. And if we could just get the two talking again and looking at what's their trigger and what offended them. Again, you're in a new relationship. So that's when the power struggle starts, is when you're trying to get territory and not lose control of that territory. That's when people start getting, kind of hostile with each other. So I have a program called 90 Days Soulmate Second Chance. It's a coaching program where couples start with me and they commit to 90 days. And we schedule individual sessions and then couple sessions. And as couples, what I'm looking for is how are they managing their conflict? How are they fighting? Are they fighting? Are they stonewalling? Are they shaming? Are they blaming? Are they listening? Are they having some sort of empathy? Or are they just done? They're quitting. So I start seeing the dynamic of how they're relating to each other. And I have people basically for the first little while have no sex. So we kind of pull back on the intimacy part of this, not forever, but it does tend to bring you back to center. When there's too much interaction, people need to have a little space to kind of get in touch with their feelings and really delve deep and see what's going on and why you're in an upset state most of the time with each other. So I pull you apart, whether maybe one person's sleeping on the couch and the other in the bed. Some people actually do separate if they have two houses. One stays in one stays in the other. This 90-day program is not divorce. It's not getting divorced. It's not breaking up. It's taking a half a step backward to really slow things down and see what's going on inside of this communication. Look, communication's key. If we can't communicate, we don't have good sex, we don't have a good relationship in any department. So communication is vital, and you've got to restore communication with each other so that you can start communicating healthy and both of you getting your needs met. So we take a little time out, take a break. You're journaling every day, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, how it looks, how it feels without that person. And you bring that to me. And that's the individual work we start doing. There's usually some secrets. There's usually some withheld communication. Maybe an ex contacted you and you haven't told your spouse because he or she will blow up. You're trying to save a fight. I understand. Doesn't mean anything. You don't care about him. But that withheld communication, or that secret, I guess, if you will, although it's not cheating, it still puts a brick in that wall between you. And when you first got together, you didn't have any walls between you. That's why it was magical. And that's why it was so impassioned, is because you didn't have any barriers between you. So I start looking at what really is blocking you from having that connection, that love. And usually it's withheld communication. Maybe you've been angry, resentful, bitter. There's family issues, financial issues. You're starting to see the writing on the wall, and you just don't know how to talk to your partner, or they blow up, or they, cry. So you're just holding all this stuff in. So this is the stuff that we systematically, in phases, start dealing with in the 90 days. But the first thing to look at is really pull back and see how you truly feel about yourself. Who have you turned into inside this relationship? What's going on with you? What are you triggered by? You didn't think you'd be feeling this way. And so we journal all that stuff. And then we sit down and go through your concerns and things that you're struggling with. Then we get back together and we start possibly dating again. Depends on how much work you're both doing. But we kind of start connecting again in a way that's not, we're married. We have we have some communications, but we don't get to fight. You only fight when you're with me in this first 90 days. So what we do is we structure the conversations to be around your feelings, about your needs, about listening and parroting and mirroring back to each other, because most people talk over each other, they interrupt each other, and then the other person just doesn't share because it's not safe to share. They don't feel like they should share, or that person doesn't care to listen, so why bother? So this is kind of how people just, again, start withholding, and they feel like they're not married. They feel like they're on their own. A lot of couples that have been together a long time, they've had children, and then we've had heavy careers and lots going on. And they came by this distance, honestly. It wasn't like they just hated each other. They didn't have any ill will. They don't have any problems with each other now. They're just bored. They lost that spark. They just don't know if they really would marry each other all over again. That empty nest is coming, and would they really choose each other all over again? That's what this 90-day program is really all about for couples, is to reset themselves, reset the marriage. Some people decide they want to have a loving, breakup. And so we talk about that. We talk about everything. At some point when there's nothing left to lose, the truth surfaces, the truth comes out, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the withheld communication. And I just say, leave it here. Leave it here. Don't take it with you to the next relationship. Leave it in these sessions, and leave with love. If you've got children, you never want to bring hostility to your kids. It's child abuse. I don't care how old your kids are. You don't want to be conflicting with each other at your daughter's wedding or your son's first child. You want to resolve these things. You want to be bigger people. You want to keep your kids first, and you can have these confidential conversations without the kids knowing that you're power struggling. Conflict is what they want to stop. The kids don't want to have the parents conflicting anymore. They'd rather just have some peace. And so would you, by the way. I've seen a lot of couples actually remarry, and they're friends with each other's new spouses. And that's actually a very healthy dynamic, because then all four of you can be at children's events and grandchildren's events, and it doesn't have to be ugly or hostile or there's a power struggle. So when you do kind of leave with love, it's amazing how there's a whole new dynamic and future to live into, and you can appreciate each other. And you will always have this appreciation for your children that other people will never have, but they can be included and they can feel valuable as well. So there's a way to do things that leaves people feeling valued, appreciated, and it's just, we've run our course, it's time to move on. So that's something that happens within the 90-day program as well. But most of my people, frankly, they come in thinking they're going to get divorced, or they're open to that possibility, and maybe I'm the last ditch effort. It's like, well, let's go to this lady and see if she can help us, and if she can, great, but if not, we're going to get divorced anyway. I'm also a mediator, so people start mediating with me, and then they figure out I do this program, and so they try the program with me, and they get back together. They get back together because they start communicating again. and they start sharing it all. And maybe they have a knockdown drag out and they just say everything they haven't said. I mean, I've gone 6 hours with people before. And look, sometimes we schedule that. I don't love starting a session and I go, oh, we're done in an hour. I at least 90 minutes. Or if we need a 3-hour, run, then I do 3 hours. Some people, if I have nobody behind you, we'll just go till we're done. So I've had some couples in here for 6 hours at a time. And yeah, it's a little exhausting, but they got somewhere. They're getting value. They're finally having those conversations. They're finally getting things cleared up. The resolve is present. And so when you're in that resolve energy, you just want to keep going and just get all the stuff done and checked off. If anybody's ever been in a mediation, by the way, that's how mediation goes. You kind of start in the morning and the mediator's like, we're just going to keep going until we get the contract, we get it signed, and we're going to go through every issue in one day. And so, you're kind of pushed in a way, not literally pushed, but you're encouraged to resolve today so that we can sign and ink it and send it to the court. And there's wisdom in that. I think that when you're in the mood to resolve, you don't have time to get offended or upset after the mediation again and then start another power struggle fight again. So I do feel like this is also a good system when I'm working with couples, that if you're on a roll and just like finally getting things resolved and complete, you just want to keep talking. And that's valuable when you find out how that person really feels or has felt for, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I didn't know you felt that way. I had no idea that was bothering you. Why didn't you say something? I did. I tried. And so when people start totally getting the other person's point of view and they can start seeing that perspective their partner's been in the whole marriage or for years on end, then they say, oh my gosh, no wonder you acted this way. No wonder we're here. Then that's when the true healing begins. And so it's the validation, it's the understanding. And that understanding does take some time. Look, you're together for a reason. People don't find each other by chance. The connection has happened for a reason. And a lot of times in the beginning, you don't know why you're connected. You just have this magnetic polarity pulling you together. You just feel like you're supposed to be together. It's, there's a sense of fate or destiny. And so you're trusting that feeling. And you want that feeling to last. That feeling needs to last forever. That should be how we feel about each other every day, the rest of our lives. I hate to burst your bubble. That's not the truth. It's not going to happen like that. I mean, feelings are they come and go. Feelings are not permanent. But when you do rekindle and respark and you can recover in the relationship after you've had a fight, then that feeling can be triggered again and you're reminded of the real reason you're together. But the feeling, you can't base your behavior and you can't stay in the marriage because it feels good. Feelings, again, it's like rain. It comes and goes. So you have to choose. If you're going to stay in a relationship long term, at some point you gave vows, you made promises, or you've said you're going to be together. So there's some sort of promise or commitment for you to be together. That's why you're together. And so if you've made promises to be together, then you have to honor your word. You have to be your word. And sometimes even though you're mad at your spouse or angry about a situation, maybe they're choosing family over you, or who knows, whatever the issue is, you still have your word in the matter, meaning you want to keep your word to be loyal to them, be faithful to them. And even if your partner's gained weight or they don't want to have sex as often or they're depressed or they're having a hard time, choosing to love them, continuing to love them in spite of their humanity, what's going on with them. That's what love is. Love is a verb. Love is a choice. Love is an action. And you can choose to continue to love in the face of nothing coming back your way. Maybe not forever. And this is where I come in, is like I help people look at where their value is. But love is a choice. It isn't always just a good feeling. And so as you get older and mature, you see that. Look, you love your kids no matter what unconditionally, and they can be little brats, right? So we have a long lasting love for them, even though they're human, right? So this is what I try to help people understand, especially with families. And when you've had children together, there is something that binds you forever. You're never going to have babies or that baby with anybody else. So moms and dads are irreplaceable. That doesn't ever, for the child especially, get reformed anywhere like it was. So knowing all this stuff, I've worked with people for over 30 years, and I love honestly, my favorite thing is working with couples. And kind of difficult couples are my favorite. The alpha male, and the alpha female, it's like I have no problem with people being open, honest, speaking their mind, being powerful. Those are the people that I think are seeking truth, they're seeking answers, and they really want to improve themselves. So if you're looking to respark your love, if you're in a relationship, you're thinking, you know what, we're probably going to divorce, and I wish we could fix some things. I wish we could resolve some issues, but if we can't, I've had it. I've hit my wall, and I can't keep living being stonewalled, or I can't keep living, in this dynamic anymore. I just want out. I understand. I feel you. But maybe you do a 90-day program with me and see if you can't restore the connection and restore the love. I have many people that tell me, I feel like I fell in love with him or her all over again. So I'd love that to be your story. And if you'd like to try it out, you can reach me on my website at healwithkimile.com. That's HEAL with KIMILE.com. Or you can text me at my mobile number 801-809-2222. Looking forward to working with you. Let love be your guide. Bye now.